Hi everyone, so glad to have you here with me today. Happy Sunday. I hope you've been having a good day today. My name is Lisa-Marie Armstrong. I'm a sustainable stylist and mindset shifter, and I'm the founder of the Sustainable Style Academy, where I help people learn how to go from being an overwhelmed closet owner to a sustainable style champion. Today we're talking about something that is very dear and close to my heart, and that is clothing donations. So have you ever done this before? You're clearing out your closet and you're throwing everything into a bag, into a rumpled heap, yeah? And there are broken things mixed with good things and dirty things mixed with clean things. And then it's either dumped into the clothing donations bin in your local area, or it's dropped off at a charity project somewhere, just kind of plopped on their doorstep. Ever done that? If you have, and you're feeling ashamed because you have, I want you not to worry, because I think that's how we were taught to do it. And most of us have done this before. I know I have. Before I knew better, I did exactly that as I just described to you. But today we're going to learn about the right way to donate clothing, because there's the old way that I just talked about, which is very unsustainable, and there is a new way. But first, I'd like to debunk a few myths about the donation bins, or about donating at all, really. First, the sorting is done by machine. Wrong. Sorting, no matter how small or how big the company is done by human hands. And a lot of these human hands are people who are volunteers. And imagine what kinds of things they have to sort through. They actually wear protective garments when they sort through clothes. And you can imagine why, because you'd be flabbergasted what some people think is okay to throw away in those bags. Moldy clothes, soiled clothes, stained and torn clothes, unwearable clothes. The sorters even find non-clothing items such as food, and the one that sticks out most in my head is dirty diapers. That even gets found in these sorting bins. How disgusting is that? So the second myth that we're debunking is the people who receive donations are grateful for anything they can get. And that's wrong. That too is wrong. People who receive donations, if your clothing actually gets to a person in need, well, they also have something called self-respect. And no, they wouldn't wear someone's broken or dirty clothes, because what does that say about them? In fact, it's an insult to be offered dirty clothes as charity. I mean, I would take it as an insult too. That's just not cool as far as I'm concerned. That's just not cool at all. Okay, so if you've listened to my other videos, then you'll know how against throwing clothes away in the clothing donations bin I am. And it's because most of it ends up in the landfill. Really, most of it does, despite the fact that it does a big world tour before it makes it into a landfill. It's not in your neighborhood landfill. No. It's in the landfill of some of the poor countries. And this is a massive ecological problem. It has its roots in industrial overproduction and consumer overconsumption. So before I tell you how to donate in a sustainable way, I'm going to give you this little tidbit. If we all stop buying so much useless stuff, which we all have, and took better care of the things that we do have, we wouldn't spend time thinking about donating clothing or whatever we're donating, and whether or not we're making a poor impact on the planet or not. right? The answer is so simple, but it's tough to put into action. I know I find it tough to put into action. I'm sure you do too. And that's why each and every one of us needs to be aware of what we're doing with our clothes. It's so important. I know we have to pay attention to so many other things about plastics and gasoline and all of these different things that have such impact. Our food, that's a huge one, right? But clothing is huge, like the food one. Yeah, it's a big deal. So when we're donating clothing, it's important to remember what we're actually doing. We are giving to people. When we give something, it should be with a whole heart. Yeah, with a whole heart. Now, what I know from the majority of human beings is that the reason we are all so excited to plop a big bag of stuff on the doorstep of a charity is so that we can finally be free from it. It's not the matter that we're giving so wholeheartedly. No, it's because we want to be rid of the things that are plaguing us in our closet. We don't want them anymore, and we just want them out of our sight. We want someone else to take responsibility for it. Let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah? And this is the mentality that needs to shift. This is the mentality that needs to shift. Besides the shopping, this one. It's important. The places where we donate are not offloading sites for the stuff that we don't want. It's a place usually run by volunteers who have a mission to help others. If you're volunteering to do that, believe me, you're wanting to help people. And we should be thinking the same way when we are donating our clothes. Just because the unwanted clothes are out of sight and out of mind and not in your closet and you don't have to see them anymore and they're not in your presence anymore, doesn't mean that you're not responsible anymore for what happens to it. So I'm not trying to be harsh on you or trying to shame any of you in any way, because I am in the same boat as you are. But this that I have just described to you is the reality of our clothing overconsumption. So when we're switching to a sustainable mindset, we're changing the way that we think about donations as well, and everything around what we buy, own, and how we dispose of clothing. Because it makes a difference, a great, great big difference. If you didn't think that you as one single person can make a difference, think again. You can make so much difference. You have that power, and that is beautiful. And with no further ado, here are the steps for sustainable donating of clothing and shoes. Step 1, find a charity or several that are actually donating to people in your area. Not ones that are shipping it off to Eastern Europe or shipping it off to Africa. Believe me, these people are overwhelmed with clothes. You want to help the people right there in your area. It takes a bit of research, it really does, but the places to consider are women's shelters, homeless shelters, children's orphanages, right? Church organizations, refugee homes. Anywhere you can see that the donations that you're giving are going to go to an actual person in need that you can actually see. And always call ahead of time and ask what types of things that they need. Step 2, make sure the things that you are donating are in good repair. Obviously, they're used things, right? But you don't want to be donating a pair of shoes that technically nobody could wear anymore, or a top that has a tear in it. These clothes should be clean, washed, clean, and free from holes and stains and signs of heavy use. And I believe in repairing things before I donate. If I see something that all it needs is a little repair, I will repair it myself or send it to a tailor to be repaired. Or if it's a pair of shoes, I will have those shoes repaired before I donate. Yep, it does cost then extra money, doesn't it, to make those repairs if you can't do them yourself. But you know what? The people receiving those clothes do not have the money to make that repair. So they probably, if you donated it with a hole, they're not going to wear it because they have self-respect, as we already pointed out, right? So I consider that repair part of my donation. And I know with good conscience that those pieces of clothing that are repaired have a very high chance of being loved by someone else. Step 3, or something at least to keep in good mind, is to make sure that the donation that you are giving is appropriate for the donation place that you're giving it to. So if you're giving it to an adult homeless shelter, chances are they don't need children's clothing. So you're not going to want to mix children's clothing and adults' clothing together in the bag that you're donating, right? Step 4, fold things neatly and bundle the shoes together, because neat and tidy are far more interesting to look at than things that are jumbled up in a ball or things that you have to look for. Dig for shoe 1 and shoe 2, you know. And finally, step 5, and very importantly, allow the donations place to pick the things that they want from your bag that you are offering, if you can. I find this to be really important. Avoid leaving a big bag of stuff on their doorstep, especially the things that they might not need, right? This is really important, first of all, because it is a charity and these are volunteers working. So it's not a disposal place for the things that you don't want. This is donating and giving. You want to give things that people want and be respectful of the people who are doing the work to get those things to the people in need. So if you've followed all these steps and you still have things left over after you've sent things to donation, start the process again. I know it sounds so like it takes so much work, but it's worth it. And what I usually do is then I research companies that might be in a different village or city or town from where I actually live, because there might be a different type of need there. Maybe over there they need more children's clothes, maybe in another area they need clothes for teens and young adults. So take a look and do your research and find out what the people actually need. And at some point then all your donations have been donated and there are some happy people on the other side of that donation who've received your clothes. So what about the stuff that is unwearable? Because you cannot put that stuff in a donations bag. That is not a donation. That is something to be recycled. Well, you'll have to tune in next Sunday where I'm going to tell you what you can do with those things. There are several alternatives, and as well I'll be talking a little bit about the technologies that are being developed to help make clothing recycling even more scalable, so that they can actually bring it to us so we can actually start recycling clothes on a grander scale, which would be so great, because that's not happening quite yet. The most effective way to stop overconsumption is by changing your habits. It is. And this requires a mindset shift. So if you're a person who really wants to make a difference, and believe me, you can, then I invite you to come and join one of my information webinars on my Mindset Shifting Workshop, which is where you learn my detailed strategy on how to build the sustainable mindset when it comes to your clothing. The link to sign up is below in the show notes, and this particular webinar happens a couple times a year. So sign up, and when the time is right, you'll receive the email as to how you can come and watch it. And if you haven't yet, of course, go grab a copy of my ebook, The Sparkling Green Closet, which will help you jumpstart into that mindset transformation. The link is also below in the show notes. And if you're a lover of sustainable style or want to become one, absolutely make sure that you click the subscribe button right over there and get informed. Each time I post a new video, I do that as often as I can on every Sunday. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. The handles also in the show notes. So much stuff in the show notes. You should really go check it out. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Sunday, a fabulous week, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Take care and ciao, ciao.